Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Star Watch, which is a weekly astrological transit report. For those of you who are new, my name is Jane. So let's take a look at what's going on this week. Now, this week we have a couple of things of note. However, the big stuff is going to be happening in next week's report. There's some kind of preparatory things going on. Today, we have the full moon in Libra. Now, if you're a member of my Soul Seekers group, please don't forget to log in because I just posted the full moon in Libra video. And this is a big moon because it's not just about this moon. It's about what's coming over the next couple of weeks, which is a big eclipse in Aries. It's a new moon, total solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries. So this moon is, even though it's a full moon, it's actually the beginning of an eclipse cycle here, because from this point today, that moon energy is going to start to intensify. This moon is being accentuated even that much more by the inclusion of Chiron. Now today we have the sun conjunct Chiron. As the sun comes over Chiron today at 16 degrees, then we'll have that full moon. But there's just so much circulating around this asteroid. And so if you are feeling emotional, okay, if you are feeling like things are coming up for you, if you're feeling like you don't have a lot of control in your life right now, if you're feeling heated emotion, Chiron is a big part of that, all right? If you're feeling scared, if you're feeling afraid, if you're feeling the imposter syndrome or the insecurities, all of that is because of Chiron and because the moon and the sun are coming into that connection there. We've had so much Chiron energy this year. This really is the last big shebang of everything. And I think for that, we can be grateful. We can certainly, think of our healing process the past couple of months, but also be really grateful for it, but also be grateful to move on from it as well. I do suspect, especially here in the US with the Donald Trump stuff and everything, I do expect that over the next couple of weeks, there might be some rise in disruption. I wouldn't be surprised with any of that. It is kind of a weird eclipse season. We've got a lot of Mars energy included with that, but we'll talk about that later next week when we actually are approaching the eclipse. But it's just going to kind of be strange. But the good news is that once the sun is done with this conjunction with Chiron, he immediately works on his conjunction with Jupiter, which is certainly a lot more optimistic. It is certainly a lot more freedom-oriented and futuristic. When the sun and Jupiter come together like this, it's very hard to get stuck in the past. We just have this tendency to say, well, I can't really control that, and I'd really rather pay attention on what's coming rather than all the things that I cannot control. So we get this chance here to really look at our lives and to look at where we're going and what it is we're doing and the momentum that we've established, and we get to really start to say, that's where I want to be focused, okay? We also have Mercury entering his pre-shadow phase this week as well. He officially enters pre-shadow on April 7th in the morning here in the United States. And that, if I actually just fast forward the clock here, we have this pre-shadow conjunct the North Node. So between the North Node and Uranus, Mercury is going to be doing his whole retrograde thing. And the North Node and Uranus are weird enough as it is. This is going to add to the destabilization of everything, especially in your own lives. We've had, with a lot of the Taurus energy that we had, last year we had a Mercury retrograde happen between Gemini and Taurus. It was going in between the air signs and the earth signs. And that last Mercury retrograde, there was Saturn involvement, with Saturn being over here in Aquarius. There was a lot of intensity here in terms of breaking your own pattern and getting out of that comfortable space. Okay, Taurus is really well known for getting in that pattern and getting in that mindset and getting in that behavior and having a hard time budging or changing or evolving. So we've had a lot with Uranus here, with the Mercury retrograde last year. We're having another Mercury retrograde in Taurus this year. This is incrementally pushing us out of these comfort zones, getting us prepared for the next era of our lives. And Mercury is here to say it's time. It's time for you to do those uncomfortable things. It's time for you to confront your fears, as this is going to be in opposition with the South Node here. You know, it's time for you to confront your fears. It's time for you to kind of go a little bit crazy, quote unquote, in terms of like your belief in yourself and belief that you don't have to stay here, especially if you're not happy here. You know, you can be grateful and appreciative for where you are, but also want more. And I think Jupiter in Aries is very self-expansive. So a lot of people are wanting more from themselves. And Mercury is here to make those adjustments that are needed. The thing about Mercury is he's really good at building and tearing things apart. We don't talk about the destructive nature of Mercury all that often. But as he is connected with the zodiac sign of Virgo, which is I analyze or I scrutinize, right? It's all about going deep into a topic or deep into a subject or an area of life and ripping it apart so you can fully understand it, so you can, you know, use it or leverage it or move on from it or whatever it is you need to do with it. But there is a kind of a digging deep, going deep within, looking, searching component with Mercury. And, you know, the destruction can be really beneficial for us right now because we're all wanting to embrace a new life with Pluto in Aquarius, you know, and we're getting a little taste of it right now. It's going to go back into Capricorn. It'll come back into Aquarius, back into Capricorn, back into Aquarius again. It's a very strange ingress over the next 2 years. So it's not like we have to do all of it all at once, but the more you can embrace the newness of your life and the new paths that you're wanting to take and the new manifestations that you're hoping to achieve, the more you can embrace those things, the more likely this Mercury retrograde is going to help you. Now, it's still going to be that mischievous Mercury messing things up. I'm actually really worried about my website because every time there's a Mercury retrograde, something goes wrong with my website. So if you have problems with my site, just let me know. But, you know, technology, shipping, packaging, weird communication, yes, yes, yes to all of it. But it's good because it's a disruptor, and we need those little disruptions in our lives to get us out of like our normalized expectations. Like if a package arrives late, that irritability can actually be good because it kind of forces you to think of different ways. You know, it's not so easy flowing all the time. And when we have that discomfort, we are then pushed to go about doing something in a different way or thinking about something in a different way. So that's one of the good things about this Mercury. I always feel pre-shadow is a lot more intense than the retrograde itself. So as it starts this week, you might start noticing Mercury retrograde themes. We have Venus. Now she's going to be entering Gemini this week. She's going to come come through the very last degrees here. In so doing, she's going to make a couple of aspects. Okay, she's going to come into a beautiful sextile here with Neptune, which I really like, with the Sun conjunct Jupiter. To me, this just offers a lot of just like, it's possible. Dream big, go for it, don't hold back, don't limit yourself kind of energy. And it's kind of a nice swing back from this full moon that's happening tonight with Chiron. We get very compressed today, and then tomorrow and the next day, there's going to be like a bigger release as we're experiencing these transits, okay? And then Venus makes her way into Gemini, and this is where she's going to be in a full-on trine with Pluto, which is going to offer a transformative process, and that's going to coincide with Mercury pre-shadow as well. It's time for change, and it's time for the things that we value to really change. Some of you who have relationships or certain financial situations that you're dealing with, it is time for those things to change. And this could be really positive change, because it's not just like talking about changing, it's about actually changing. Two totally different things, right? This is about action. This is about putting your money where your mouth is. This is about having receipts and showing that you are ready and willing. It's about other people doing that too, being ready and willing to make the revisions necessary in order for something to succeed. She's also going to be coming into a square with Saturn. Now, I don't mind Venus square Saturn sometimes, okay? Venus and Saturn are both associated with the zodiac sign of Libra. Venus is the ruler of Libra, where Saturn is the exalted planet. So there is kind of a symbiotic relationship there, but a square is often tough and there is tension. Anyone who's born with a Venus square Saturn, me, in their chart knows that it can be challenging. But Saturn can certainly bring a degree of discipline to the transformation that is taking place here with Pluto. So she's going to get hit with both Pluto and Saturn energy all at once as soon as she enters Gemini. And even still, as she's in Gemini, she's still the strongest planet in the chart, sitting at a +9. So she's really strong here. And her strength means she's kind of in the lead, which means the things we value, we hold in such high regard, and the things that are important to us are so important that we are willing to change our ways or implement new methodologies, or we are willing to evolve in order to either maintain or to attain those things we hold in such high value, okay? This is about us evolving to match the life we seek. It's not about bringing it to us, okay? It's about recognizing that that life or that dream or that goal or that amount of money requires a certain being, a beingness within us. It requires a certain vibration, if you will, if we want to talk about like law of attraction, Abraham Hicks type stuff, okay? It requires a certain vibration from us, a certain emotional pattern, a certain mindset pattern, and a certain behavioral pattern. So in order for us to be here, we have to evolve to match that. And because this is so important to us, we can and we will and we do. So, this is subtle, and I know this is just a weekly astrology reading, but I do think it's important to talk about this, because all this stuff happens, our manifestations, it all happens incrementally. It happens slowly over time. And while you're not going to go from 0 to 100 like that, you are going to at least be able to go from 0 to 10 this week. And that's going to bring you closer and closer to that ultimate thing here. And while the moon today, let me go back to the clock today. Here's the moon, here's the sun, here's Chiron. Today you may have a lot of doubt. Today you may pop off on someone. Today you may have an angry trigger that boom comes out. Today you may get irritable. Today you might be this, but tomorrow it might be totally different. Okay, when Chiron is involved, it's always a feeling of relief when it's over, okay? Because Chiron is just a little bit of like a dampener on things, and it just reminds you of all your pain and trauma and wounding. And we've had so much reminders of that I think we're just sort of over it, and we don't want to be in that place anymore. And because we don't want to be there, we can get a little aggressive and abrupt. So it's over tomorrow and the next day and the next day, with Venus coming into that trine with Pluto and that sextile with Neptune. There's a lot of hope, but that hope it demands us to evolve. Okay, so this is a moment where you can have a heart to heart with yourself and say, I'm ready to change, I'm ready to evolve. And with Mars here in Cancer, we have the emotional capacity to evolve. Okay, this is not something that is like South Node in Scorpio has brought up a lot of fear stuff. I think Mars in Scorpio is like Mars in Cancer is like, I'm over being fearful. I'm just over it. I'm not going to participate in that anymore because it's not helpful to me. It's not helpful to my family and my loved ones. Mars in Cancer can have a really protective quality. If you've ever met someone with Mars in Cancer, they are so protective of their loved ones. They are the fiercely loyal ones, the ones that would go to war for you even though you messed up so bad, right? It's like a fierce loyalty there. And I do think your own personal evolution is the way that you are protecting your loved ones. It's the way you're protecting your life. It's the way you're protecting your sanctity, in your sanctuaries and all of that. And so it's not that hard to do it because it matters so much to you. Okay? It is a good week. It's an intense week though, and it's going to be even more intense next week. So stay tuned for that. You guys know I love you. I hope you have an amazing week ahead of you, and I will talk to you very soon. Take care.